Welcome everyone! In this video, we are going to be diving into my top 5 best teams for the Ultra League. Now guys, it's been a while since I've done a teams video for the Open Ultra League, and some things have changed since my last teams video for the Open Ultra League. A little Pokemon by the name of Registeel had a massive update since that last video. We've had Tapu Fini introduced into the meta. Como-O made an appearance into the meta. So I thought, it's probably time to update my top 5 best teams. And that is exactly what we're going to do today in this video. A lot of very powerful teams on this list that will really help you guys achieve whatever your goals may be for Pokemon Go Battle League. I'm super excited. These are a lot of these teams on this list, guys. I'm definitely going to be giving a try myself just to give you guys a look at how I prefer to play the teams in this video. I'm super pumped, guys. These teams are insane. So without further ado, let's dive into team number 1. All right, guys, here we go. Team number 1. And holy smokes, is it a powerful team for the Ultra League. My goodness, guys, I'm telling you, I'm not kidding. This team is insane. And it leads with Tapu Fini on the lead, Giratina as your safe swap, and Registeel in the back to close the game strong. Oh my goodness, this team is insane. If you have all 3 of these Pokemon, I would highly recommend giving it a try. So let's have a look at this scorecard here. And here we go. Look at that scorecard, guys. Holy smokes, you don't get much better than that, especially in the Ultra League. My goodness, you get an A for coverage, A for bulk, B for safety, and an A for consistency. This team is insane. I was not kidding, guys. Oh my goodness, this team will definitely be racking up the wins for you left and right in the Ultra League. Let's have a look at these matchups here. So Tapu Fini is one of the strongest leads you can possibly run in the Open Ultra League. And that is just because there are so many people leading with Scrafty. So many people lead with Talonflame, Giratina. Tapu Fini has a lot of wins on the lead with this team. So one of the major issues that you're going to have with Tapu Fini on the lead is, of course, the steel types like Registeel. You don't want to stay in on that. You could. It's not the best idea because if you stay in to look to get off a Surf, it's not going to do a whole lot of damage, as Registeel is about as bulky as a Pokemon gets. So your best bet is to go immediately into Giratina on the safe swap and look to go from there. You will likely draw out a dark type if they have it on their team. It's not likely that they would. They would most likely have a Cresselia if they're leading with Registeel, and Giratina still has solid play up against Cresselia. So that's what I would do on a Registeel lead. It's not a very common lead. You typically see Registeel in the back, but not out of the realm of possibility. Trevenant is the biggest core breaker for this team. It's going to take a team effort between Giratina and Registeel, mostly Giratina. So Trevenant is a pretty widely used lead option in the Ultra League, I will admit. So if you're met with Trevenant on the lead, you're going to go into Giratina and look to go from there. Now, Trevenant could have a dark type in the back because Trevenant's a ghost type, resists fighting type damage, makes perfect sense to have a dark type like Scrafty, maybe Obstagoon, Umbreon, something of that nature. You really want to draw that out with Giratina, and Giratina is so overpowered that it can still put up a fight even against dark types. So that's the goal of Giratina, is to draw out those Scrafties first and foremost, because Registeel doesn't really want to take that counter damage from Scrafty. Although Registeel can beat Scrafty, but you want to draw out those dark types so Tapu Fini can come back in, really load up on energy, and hopefully leave that matchup with some energy to threaten the Trevenant. And then, if they do come back in with the Trevenant, you can go into Registeel as well and look to play on from there. But it's definitely a team effort between Giratina and Registeel for Trevenant. Another target would be Walrein. So Tapu Fini has a very narrow loss to Walrein in the 1 shield, but Tapu Fini is going to be on the lead. So this is the 2 shield scenario. You can definitely tank an Earthquake, but what you really want to do is probably play out that 1 shield and try and land that Moonblast. Ultimately, you're going to want to stay in and soft lose lead and then look to come in with Registeel. That's going to be the best way to play a Walrein lead, which is also a very common lead for this meta. You really don't want to risk that Walrein finding its way to your Giratina, but if you're able to land that Moonblast, Giratina can do okay because Giratina is very spammy and can hopefully finish it off if it somehow finds its way to it. So that's Walrein. Cresselia, you're getting out of there immediately into Giratina. As most Cresselias, especially on the lead, are running the Legacy Grass Knot, and that's just not good for Tapu Fini on the lead. Let's see here. What else do we have? And that's about it, guys. Those are the only threats for this team. Registeel is very rare to see on the lead, so you're mostly going to be tackling the Trevenant leads with Tapu Fini, Walrein, and Cresselia. Those are the major issues that you'll find on lead. Other than that, you're going to be winning lead a lot, especially against all of those Talonflame leads. A lot of people love to lead with Obstagoon, Giratina, Tapu Fini dominates all of those on the lead. And one more, Jellicent is another popular lead. We don't see it in these matchups here, but that's one where you'll want to go into Giratina immediately as well. But very powerful team, and this is a very flexible team as well, guys. This is a team that you can sort of mold, and you don't necessarily have to switch up the team. It's really going to be depending on what you're seeing. So you could easily swap Giratina, bump Giratina up into the lead, and safe swap Tapu Fini. So this is a very flexible team, and I just can't get over that scorecard. That is an insane scorecard for the Ultra League, guys. This team is very powerful, very flexible, very moldable. You can really mold it based upon what you're seeing at your ELO range. So that is team number 1. Tapu Fini on the lead, Giratina safe swap, Registeel to close the game strong. Very powerful team. And with all that said, let's have a look at team number 2. All right, guys, here we go. Team number 2, and it's another very, very powerful team for the Open Ultra League, and it leads with Giratina on the lead. Cresselia is your safe swap, and Walrein's in the back to close it out for you. Now, if this team is looking a little familiar to you guys, it was also featured in my top 3 best non-XL teams for the Ultra League. That just goes to show how powerful this team is. It is insanely strong, extremely strong. Giratina is a very powerful lead. Giratina is meant to pick up all of those Talonflame leads. Everybody loves leading with Talonflame. It also does well against the ever so popular Swampert lead as well. So Giratina, always a powerful lead option in the Ultra League. Let's have a look at this scorecard here, guys. And look at that. Another amazing team for the Ultra League. This team is pretty powerful and pretty accessible, I might add, as well, guys. You get a B for coverage, not bad. A for bulk, A for safety, and an A for consistency. Very powerful team for team number 2. Let's have a look at these matchups here. So Giratina on the lead. It's going to be very powerful, like I said. It can run into some problems, though, and that is those problems mostly lie within the dark types that we often see in the Ultra League. The worst dark type that you could see would be Obstagoon. Obstagoon kind of core breaks the entire team a little bit, guys. So with Obstagoon, if you're seeing a lot of those at your ELO range, I recommend Shadow Claw for this team. But if you're seeing a lot of Obstagoons on the lead, you might want to swap out Shadow Claw for Dragon Breath. That makes the Obstagoon matchup a lot better for you. But if you do catch one and you're running Shadow Claw, you kind of have to stay in there a little bit. Chip away with those Dragon Claws, and then you can come in and align your Cresselia onto it. Generally, Obstagoon will have a Talonflame in the back, so It could be a little rough. You could chip it down to about 50% health and then look to come in with Cresselia, because there is a good chance that there would be a Talonflame in the back. You could also see double charm behind Obstagoon. That's another very toxic yet popular line that you could run into in the Ultra League as well. So it just really depends on what you're seeing at your elo. But if you're seeing an abundance of Obstagoons on the lead, just switch it up to Dragon Breath and you'll do a lot better against Obstagoon on the lead. But it's definitely a team effort across the entire team for Obstagoon. Scrafty's not nearly as bad as Obstagoon because unlike Obstagoon, Scrafty's only single resisting your Shadow Claws, whereas Obstagoon's triple resisting it. So Scrafty's a lot more manageable, guys. It's predicated on Scrafty landing that big foul play, and all the while you are absolutely spamming it with Dragon Claws. It's a lot closer than you would think. Something like an Umbreon or Mandibuzz, it's definitely worth going right into Cresselia and looking to play that out. If it's Umbreon, you could go into Walrein as well. Just depends on what you're reading in terms of team comp. But it's not worth it to stay in there on Umbreon or Mandibuzz. You definitely want to safe swap out of that. But everything at Walrein, you're absolutely getting out of there. Trevenant, you can actually stay in on and do very well. Trevenant's going to have to bait you to land that Shadow Ball. But if things go awry and it somehow lands that Shadow Ball, you do live it. It does about 70% of your health just because Trevenant hits like a truck, but Trevenant is very fragile, and those Shadow Claws really add up, guys. And if you land one of those Shadow Sneaks, it does about 50% of Trevenant's health. So Trevenant's really not all that bad on the lead. If they let through a Shadow Sneak, you can definitely aggressive swap into Cresselia and just to preserve your Giratina, because you never know what they have in the back. They could. It's always, if they have a Talonflame in the back, you just really want to preserve your Giratina if you can, just in case. But Walrein can do well against Talonflame as well, depending on the shielding scenario. Tapu Fini, it's actually a lot closer than you would think, but you have two solid answers to Tapu Fini on the lead, so you can go right into Walrein. That's your softer counter for Tapu Fini. But everything else, if you need to safe swap out of, Cresselia is the dedicated safe swap for team number 2. So very powerful team for team number 2. Like I said, if it's looking a little familiar, it was also featured in my top 3 best non-XL teams, and that's for good reason. It's a powerful team, and it's pretty accessible. So that's team number 2, guys. Giratina on the lead, Cresselia on the safe swap, and Walrein in the back to close the game strong. So yeah, that's team number 2. With all that said, guys, let's have a look at team number 3. All right, guys, here we go. Team number 3, another very solid team for team number 3, and it leads with Scrafty on the lead. Nidoqueen is your safe swap, and Registeel in the back to close the game strong. Very powerful team. Scrafty on the lead's a very, very powerful lead. Scrafty's insane in the Ultra League. If you thought it was good in the Great League, holy smokes, guys. It is that much more better in the Ultra League with all of that added bulk, courtesy of those XL candies. Very powerful on the lead, guys. One of my favorite lead options. Let's have a look at this scorecard here. And look at that, guys. Not bad. This is an insane scorecard for team number 3. You get an A for coverage, which is the most important metric when evaluating a team on PvPoke. You want to get as high of a score for the coverage as possible, and we get an A for coverage. You get an A for bulk. You do get a C for safety, and you get a B for consistency. Not bad for team number 3. Let's have a look at these matchups here. So, like I said, guys, Scrafty on the lead is insanely strong. Scrafty wins lead a lot in the Ultra League. You're going to run into some problems, of course, with the Charmers. That's why we've got these 2 Pokemon in the back for the charm leads that you may run into. But Cresselia can cause some problems for Scrafty because a Moonblast from Cresselia nearly one-shots Scrafty from full health. You do survive a Moonblast, but You're not going to want to stay in there if you run into a Cresselia lead. This is why we have these two Pokemon in the back for not only the Charmers, but also the Cresselias that you will likely run into on the lead with Scrafty. If you are met with a Cresselia, you're going immediately into Nidoqueen. You will likely draw out something like a Swampert, maybe a Talonflame, or a Giratina. If it's a Swampert or a Giratina, you're fine to come back in with Scrafty. In that case, you will absolutely want to come back in with Scrafty. But if it's a Talonflame, you're going to do actually pretty well with Nidoqueen. Talonflame's not known for its bulk, and Nidoqueen really shreds once it gets that Poison Fang train rolling. You can shield up the second Flame Charge, but if they go Kamikaze on you and Brave Bird you, that's okay. You can come back in with Scrafty, and a Foul Play will basically one-shot it if they do that to you. So that's how I play Cresselia on the lead. Tapu Fini, you want to get out of there immediately. Again, that's why we have these two Pokemon in the back behind Scrafty to protect it from the Fairy types. And although Tapu Fini doesn't run Charm, it is resisting your fast move pressure. It resists everything you could throw at it. So definitely go into Nidoqueen and look to play that out. Giratina on the lead, you can stay in there. It's a lot closer, like I said, than you would think with Giratina. You might want to preserve your Scrafty because Giratina could have a Steel type behind it. So you could maybe try and land a Foul Play. It does about 45-50% of Giratina's health, and then you could actually safe swap into Registeel. Again, you'll likely draw out a Swampert. Neither of your two Pokemon in the back want to see a Swampert, so if they have it on their team, you want to draw it out so that you can come back in and take it out with Scrafty. That's how this team is designed. You're really targeting Swampert on your opponent's team. But if you meet Swampert on the lead, you'll do just fine with Scrafty. Scrafty has a clean win over Swampert in even shield scenarios. Talonflame on the lead, you'll want to get out of there immediately into Nidoqueen and look to go from there. Just count to 5 and throw. That's how you play Nidoqueen and Talonflame. But that's about it. Other than that, Scrafty's going to be doing very well on the lead. You're going to be winning lead a lot with Scrafty because a lot of people run Walrein on the lead, Giratina on the lead, Obstagoon on the lead. That's why this team is so simplistic yet wildly effective, and amazing scorecard for it here. Very, very solid team for team number 3, and that is Scrafty on the lead, Nidoqueen on the safe swap, and Registeel in the back to close the game strong. So that is team number 3. With all that said, guys, let's have a look at team number 4. All right, guys, here we go. Team number 4. Another super solid team for the Ultra League, and it leads with Cresselia on the lead, Galarian Stunfisk as your safe swap, and Talonflame in the back to close the game strong. Another very powerful team here, guys. Cresselia on the lead is quite strong, and that's just because so many people lead with water types, lead with those dark types. Cresselia has a fun time on the lead in the Ultra League, guys. And you got a solid safe swap option in Galarian Stunfisk. Those of you who watch the channel regularly know how high I am on Stunfisk as a safe swap in both the Great League and the Ultra League. It is as good as it gets. And of course, Talonflame can close a game like you wouldn't believe. And so let's have a look at this scorecard here. And look at that. It's identical scorecard to team number 3. And like I said, the coverage is in my opinion, the most important metric when evaluating a team. And you get an A for coverage, guys. A for bulk, C for safety, and a B for consistency. Solid scorecard for team number 4 here. Now let's have a look at these matchups. So like I said, Cresselia is going to be doing very well on the lead. It does struggle against, of course, the poison types because I do highly recommend the Legacy Grass Knot, of course, for the water types. But I recommend running Moonblast on Cresselia. You could definitely consider Future Sight on the lead. just to catch those Talonflames and, of course, the poison types that you may see. But generally, Moonblast will give you the most consistent results. But I think Grass Knot is an absolute must. I don't think that's negotiable at all. I think you absolutely need Grass Knot on Cresselia to have the most success with it, just because there are so many water types in this meta, and people love leading with the water types. So speaking of water types, you're going to dominate all of them. You're staying in on all of the water type leads. You're also staying in there on all of the dark type leads like Scrafty, Obstagoon, Umbreon, Mandibuzz. Staying in there. You can stay in there as well on Giratina. You have a decent matchup against Giratina. They may actually end up giving you switch advantage because for fear of losing their Giratina, just because so many people run Talonflame in the Ultra League. So you can actually stay in there a little bit, but if you're a little nervous, maybe you're reading that there is a dark type in the back, because Giratina could come paired with a dark type. In that case, you can try and get off a Moonblast, maybe grab a shield before safe swapping in the Stunfisk, just to mix it up a little and to see what else they have in the back. Some Pokemon that you're hard swapping out on would be Trevenant. You're gonna hard swap out into Stunfisk and just spam the Trevenant with Rock Slides if they decide to stay in. Stunfisk is about as tanky as it gets, so that's a decent matchup for Stunfisk in the 2-shield if they decide to play it out. Escavalier, that's the one glaring weakness to this team. That is a Pokemon that you absolutely just have to lose lead on, guys. It takes 4 Moonblasts to KO a Escavalier. They will look to get off that. Megahorn. It does a little over half of your health. They have to land 2 to take you out. You're not shielding anything. You're just soft losing lead if you run into an Escavalier on the lead. That will allow you to bring in your Talonflame. That's the most efficient way to tackle an Escavalier lead. That's really the only major issue you will run into with this team. You could run into some issues with Venusaur as well, very similar to Escavalier. But unlike Escavalier, with Venusaur, you can swap out immediately into Stunfisk and look to play from there. Ultimately, if you do run into a Venusaur, you'll want to have your Talonflame aligned to it. And that's another case where Future Sight could come in handy, but you don't see too many Venusaurs in the Open Ultra League. It's a bit risky to run, but you could see it. If you run into Venusaur, definitely just go right into Stunfisk and look to play from there. And that's really it on this team. Those are the major issues that you could run into with it, and that's Escavalier and Venusaur. But everything else, you're going to be doing just fine. You're going to be winning lead a lot with Cresselia. Cresselia is a monster of a lead option for the Ultra League, just because so many people lead with water types like Walrein, like Swampert. You do see a lot of dark types as well, so team number 4 is amazing scorecard for it. Very solid. Cresselia is an amazing lead option. So that's team number 4. Cresselia on the lead, Stunfisk as your safe swap, and Talonflame in the back to close the game strong, preferably with a shield advantage. Fight as hard as you can to maintain a shield advantage for Talonflame, and it will not steer you wrong. I guarantee you that, guys. So that's team number 4. With all that said, let's have a look at team number 5. All right, guys, last but certainly not least, we've got team number 5, and it's a classic team comp for team number 5. It's Dragon Double Steel, guys. This team comp certainly has withstood the test of time. And the Dragon of choice for team number 5 is Como-O on the lead, Galarian Stunfisk on the safe swap, and Registeel in the back to bring it home for you guys. Now, I certainly understand that not all of us have a Como-O, so this is Dragon Double Steel. Basically, any dragon will suffice as a suitable replacement for Como-O if you don't have one. I know we don't all have one. It is extremely rare. I understand that. So some suitable, the glaring replacement for Kommo-o would definitely be Dragonite. That's the most accessible dragon. Some dragons that I would steer clear of would be Giratina and, of course, the newly buffed Hydreigon. I know a lot of you are itching to run Hydreigon, but that is not the dragon to run with Dragon Double Steel. That's just because with Hydreigon, you're triple weak to fighting type damage with this team. And the same goes for Giratina. Not to that extent, but sort of indirectly, because a lot of the dark types come in the form of fighting types come in the form of Scrafty or Obstagoon, and those are the two most common Pokemon that utilize fighting type damage primarily. But I think Dragonite's the most accessible replacement and would absolutely work. You actually get the same scorecard with Dragonite. For those of you who may have an Altaria, that is also a suitable replacement for Kommo-o as well. But if you could run Giratina, especially if it's running Dragon Breath, you would do a lot better against Scrafty and Obstagoon. You could give that a try as well. So that's those are some replacements for Kommo-o. But if you have Kommo-o, it's definitely worth giving a run or giving a try with this team. Let's have a look at this scorecard here. And not bad, guys. Decent scorecard for team number 5 here. You get a B for coverage, A for bulk, B for safety, and a B for consistency. So let's have a look at these matchups. Kommo-o is a very solid lead, guys. This thing is so good. It's a lot bulkier than you would think. Kommo-o is insane on the lead. So some problems that you're going to run into, of course, is going to be Walrein. A lot of people love leading with Walrein. That's why we got 2 steel types behind Kommo-o here. You're not staying there at all on Walrein leads. You're going immediately into Stunfisk, which is the safe swap for this team. Cresselia is also going to be a problem. You're getting out of there immediately on Cresselia leads into Stunfisk. And, of course, the Charmers are getting out of there. You're not staying in. Tapu Fini is another problem because Tapu Fini resists everything that Kommo-o could possibly throw. That's a tricky one because Tapu Fini also does well against Stunfisk because it runs Water Gun, which does super effective damage, and it does a lot because it does have Stab. So Tapu Fini is a major core breaker for this team. You have to sort of double team it with Stunfisk and Registeel. So with Tapu Fini, it's a bit risky to go immediately into Registeel because they will likely meet you with a Swampert. It's rough. I'm not going to lie. Tapu Fini is rough for a Dragon Double Steel line. But you just have to play it as best you can. I would still go into Stunfisk because Stunfisk is bulky enough to withstand that fast move pressure long enough to really put in the work on Tapu Fini. But other than that, outside of Tapu Fini and Cresselia, Kommo-o is going to be doing very well on the lead. The idea with this team is you're really targeting those very popular Swampert and Talonflame leads. So that's mostly what you will see on the lead. You can see a lot of Obstagoon as well. And you're going to see Giratina a lot in the lead. Kommo-o does win the 2-shield against Giratina. So if you see Giratina, you can stay in there. But Giratina often comes paired with Talonflame. So I don't recommend staying in. Maybe try and get off a Dragon Claw before making an aggressive play into Stunfisk. Stunfisk does core break the Giratina Talonflame core, so I wouldn't stay in there. Although you do win it, I don't recommend staying in on Giratina. But other than that, all of those targets outside of the core breakers like Walrein and Cresselia, you're going to be doing fine on. So that's team number 5, classic team comp, Dragon Double Steel, Kommo-o on the lead, Galarian Stunfisk as your safe swap, and Registeel in the back to close it strong. And that about wraps it up, guys, for my top 5 best teams for the Ultra League, the updated Season 11 edition. Ultra League's always a fun time. And I'm going to definitely be trying out a lot of the teams on this list just to give you guys a look at how I prefer to play them. So I had a blast, guys. I hope you all enjoyed. As always, I thank you for watching and keep up the grind. Thank you, guys.